It was like I was at a concert. I was in my own world, and I was like at a rock concert, and I was just dancing and singing along, and I had no idea what was going on in the room. I was approaching 40, and a lot of people told me it's not that easy to get pregnant. You're gonna have to try a really long time, and you may go through many miscarriages, so don't be so hopeful. So I was like, okay, probably won't happen, let's just see. And it happened. We took a pregnancy test. He asked me to take a test, and I said, oh no, I'm just late. Took one, and I was like, it really happened. And the first thing that went through my mind is, I'm gonna have a cesarean. Because I had never imagined going through pregnancy, going through delivery. To me, it was just like not for me, and oh my gosh, like that's kind of a big deal. And it was a territory I was never gonna pass. For almost 25 years, I had this mindset of, oh, that'll never be me. And then it happened to me. I'm looking at this test and I'm thinking, all of a sudden I just thought pain, oh my gosh, and morning sickness. Like I'm throw-up-a-phobic. Like I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna deal with this? And we talked to friends, and through a couple, maybe 3 different people, I heard about Care Messer and hypnobirthing, and I was like, this sounds really appealing and interesting to me. It sounds like it's putting a soft edge on pregnancy, delivery, making it so much more of a positive experience, not painful. I got drawn to it, so I signed up for hypnobirthing. Vince was like, what? And was kind of hesitant at the first class, coming into the first class, but walking out of the first class, he was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
This is awesome stuff.
I'm a software developer. I'm in the high-tech world, and my job is to optimize, to minimize, just take the shortest route home, the most effective route home. So when we talked about the notion of natural delivery and all that, the first question that came to mind is why, right? Why? And then we got our answer. Why?
Yep, he was like, why don't you just take that path of least resistance, just go the easy way. And I had plenty of friends tell me, just get a cesarean, easy. And so that's what I thought originally, but then hypnobirthing just put such a positive spin on natural, unmedicated delivery. And originally for me, it was just reversing that mindset that I had for all those years and making it a positive experience. So the affirmations that we listened to every night, that was very, very helpful to put me in the right mindset. I listened to rainbow relaxation. All of the words on the wall of the room in the hypnobirthing class were really helpful. Namaste and surge and wave. All these peaceful, pretty words, calling a contraction a surge or a wave versus a contraction, or not talking about pain, but just pressure. And learning that you can actually breathe through this, and it's a positive thing. I took it through delivery with me, and I managed to deliver in a calm way, and it was just amazing. And I don't believe I did it, coming from the history, the background that I had. Monday morning around 3 a.m., my water released. And shortly after, I can't recall how long after, but it felt like within the hour, surges started. I got to a point where I was like, oh, what do I do? And where's Connie? I need to have Connie here because she needs to tell me what to do. I was like, ah. And Vince suggested get in the shower, hot shower. So we took the medicine ball in the shower, put a towel down and sat on it. And we have this rain feature in our shower, and I just sat under there with the hot water. It felt so good. I took some surges, but much easier to take it in the hot water. He says I was in there for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Time went by really fast throughout this whole thing. So did some different movements outside of the shower. I don't remember all of them, but I remember being on all fours. That was always very comfortable, even throughout pregnancy. Like I used to do cat and cow, move my hips around. And so got active, and I kept asking, where's Connie? Because I knew her to be here. He was counting. He was using an app to count the minutes, and the surgeons keep track of them and not telling me, and I did not want to know. But apparently it was progressing like pretty quickly, and then it wasn't that long before Connie came, and she worked with me a little bit at home, and my surgeons got to a point pretty quickly where it was like, okay, we can go in now. Connie gave me the option. She's like, we can wait at home a little bit longer if you want, or we can go in. I was ready to go. And so thankfully the hospital was just 6 minutes away, and Connie followed us. So we arrive at the hospital and we park, and I'm having surges throughout. I think I had, in that 6 minute drive, I had 3 or 4 surges. In the car, yeah. So they were coming. There was no stopping it, and I had this eye mask on and my music on. So I was like, okay, I don't even know if anybody can see. Who can see me? He and Connie, if they want, they can be embarrassed, but I don't care. And each one of them was holding a hand like this, and they were guiding me because I couldn't see. Walking into the hospital, I took a surge every minute.
Yeah, they're very close. But again, we were executing the game plan as we had talked about. Connie, our doula, helped us, and again, we had talked about it, and once we got there, it was just happening. It was just one after another. We parked the car at a fair distance, and we were both holding her, and as the time would come, she would go through the surges completed, and then we would take a few more steps.
I would kind of bite on his arm.
Bite, pinch, hit.
I remember that, and it was so comforting. His arm was just very comforting to me every time a surge was coming on. And I remember we got to registration, and they were asking me some questions, and I'm like, I can't talk right now. And I was like, I need to sit down, and took another one. Anyway, we ended up getting into the room pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And they did a test or a check. I didn't know. I didn't want to know. Connie just double checked. She knew that I pretty much want to be oblivious to everything. I want to be in my own zone. And she just said, just to make sure, do you want to know? And I said, no, I don't want to know. Apparently it was 1 centimeter. But baby was at station 0, so she was pretty close. So that was a good thing, and my surges were so back to back that we think we did the right thing being in the hospital. I spent a good amount of time in the tub. I had called in advance and asked for a room with a tub. And the tub was just so comforting, and apparently I did much better. I made better progress in the tub than I did on the bed, and so that's where I spent a lot of my time between Vince and Connie and Stacy, our nurse. I don't know who was doing what, but somebody was constantly pouring warm water on my back, which felt so good. I know Connie's touch. I know she was giving me light touch, which felt so good. And somebody would keep putting a straw in my mouth so I could drink water, which was great. I barely ever had to ask for it, but if I wanted it, I would ask it immediately. It was in my mouth. They took such good care of me. And Connie also had peppermint oil, and she would put it in a cotton ball, and I kind of wiped it under here so I could inhale it. That really relaxed me. I felt like the room was dark, but my eyes were covered, so I don't know. But I was very relaxed, and I was listening to music the entire time, and that music really helped me get through each surge. I was just listening to the words, listening to the music, I was dancing in my own way. And I remember Connie saying, don't do so much of this no, I want you to say yes. And I remember telling Connie, this is like kind of part of my dance. Like I was just like rocking out, and it really got me through each surge. That music, for me personally, it really, really helped. And I know it's a combination of everything. I put it on Cyndi Lauper station. I wanted like happy music, good vibes, and like reminders maybe of like my younger years. So there was like Madonna, Material Girl playing, there was George Michael playing, all kinds of good songs that I knew the lyrics to, I could sing along. And anytime a slow song came on, like maybe a Phil Collins song, I remember hitting next because I needed loud, I needed upbeat, I needed a good beat to move to because I was just dancing. It was like I was at a concert. I was in my own world, and I was like at a rock concert, and I was just dancing and singing along, and I had no idea what was going on in the room. I had no idea it was 1 centimeter dilated. I don't know how many hours later, we were at 6 or 7 centimeters. We were making really good progress, but again, I didn't want to know. All I did was go like this and say, Connie, are we making progress? And she and the nurse both were like, yes. And they were cheering me on, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back to my concert. Kept listening to my music. Every once in a while I would ask a question and get the quick answer, and okay, music on. 17 hours. I listened to music nonstop in my headset. That wireless headset was amazing. It barely went down in battery. We got to a point where, I guess, I'm gonna give you a very short version. We got to a point where it was time. Like they said, if you want, you can push now. It was maybe 15 minutes, 3 rounds. I don't know how many.
It quick, yeah. It was very quick. Once we got to that point, Dr. Cobb came in. And again, there was a lot of activity going on, I noticed, but the focus was on mom. She had her 40 blinks on, her blindfolds and music. And then at some point the doctor needed her to be engaged. So they kind of very kindly asked her to remove her blindfolds and then a headset so she can hear, she could communicate with Dr. Cobb, and the rest.
And I said, well, can you please play the music from my phone? Just have it come out of the phone only, because I still need the music. I was addicted to that music. That was my drug.
Yeah, but it was perfect. The hospital staff was very respectful. Everybody kept quiet. We spoke in a very low level noise. And once they did some checks and make sure she was okay, the focus, everything shifted on her now. And it was the most amazing experience.
It was crazy. I can't believe I did it. I really can't believe that I delivered naturally, that I delivered without medication, that I delivered relatively without pain. It was pressure. It really was pressure, not pain. Me being that person who never wanted to have kids, who couldn't have imagined going through pregnancy and then delivery. I was just in disbelief. I still kind of am. And it's good that I have my husband to remind me of what I went through. Yeah, I had no idea what was going on in the room. If there was commotion, I was oblivious to it. Everything was just, I was at my rock concert in my own world, having a great time, and I was being served water, a little bite of like chocolate or a date, figs, just a little bit at a time, and I had the best team in the world. I couldn't have asked for a better support team to get me through. When she came up, I was like, who are you? Like, I don't know. It's like I had run a triathlon, I think, a marathon, triathlon, like been through a lot of physical work, and I was just so drained. And I don't know, it was like surreal when they put her on me. But I was like, I don't know. It was just surreal and amazing. And then it's over, like that process of delivery. We can just bond now, and it was so beautiful. And I looked at my husband and I'm like, okay, now it's the three of us. And it was very beautiful, very, very beautiful. And I remember telling the nurse not to wipe off her burnings. And she's like, I'm not, I have to get her to cry. So she was kind of rubbing her back or tapping her back. I was like, when do we get that golden hour you guys were talking about? I just wanted to bond. And it came before we knew it. It was just like a few minutes. And then it was just golden. It really was. And very calm and quiet and peaceful. And it still has been. She's a pretty good baby. So I would say definitely take a hypnobirthing class. There's so much to learn that you didn't even know was out there, and it sets you up for success. It's incredible just how positive it can make delivery, and you can still choose whatever path you want, but at least you have this mindset of being very positive and knowing you can get through anything, and that you're so strong, and that there's techniques. There's so many techniques to get through it. It actually, I don't know how to say it, but it wasn't like the most difficult thing ever getting through each surge. I was present for every single surge, and I was breathing through it and saying my cervix is open and letting the baby out. So learning, how it all works and flows, and putting you in that mindset, like this is a positive thing. We want the baby to come out, and you're gonna see her sooner. And if you relax and open up, it's gonna be a faster process versus tensing up and being nervous and scared, and so hypnobirthing class. Secondly, I would say definitely hire a doula. I did not realize beforehand how much they can really help. It's not just help, orchestrate. I can say Connie orchestrated the whole thing for us. At least that's how I felt. I was just looking to her. She was my coach, she was my guide, she was my confidant, she was everything. And I trusted her, and she positioned me for the perfect, most beautiful delivery I could have possibly imagined. And thirdly, surround yourself with positive thoughts. Listen to the affirmations, do rainbow relaxation, enjoy every step of your pregnancy and think good thoughts about delivery. And if you have anybody negative in your life, remove yourself from them, at least temporarily. You just want to flood yourself with good thoughts and good messages. And if anybody says, oh, just get a cesarean, that'll be so much easier, just get an epidural, remove yourself from those conversations. I just learned to smile and walk away. You don't need to try to prove yourself to anybody, but just stay focused on the positive aspect of everything you learn in hypnobirthing. And you can do this, you got this. You're capable of so much. And I know people said that to me before, and it's true. It really is. I can't believe I did it, but it's definitely possible.